Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jerry Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Monday, August 14, 2023, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a time for change call this Wednesday around 9 p.m. Eastern. What if you came across information that said that God never existed? Depending on the religious upbringing and influences with other people's thoughts programming on this planet, you would have many different responses to that. But and it's confusing to some people, but when we realize the fact that we're all pieces of the one, all life are pieces of the one to varying levels of comprehension and understanding. So let's say you, as a God, part of the one, decided to enter let's say a tree. Now, it's a different life form than a human body. So obviously, you're going to be experiencing many different things. Of course, you don't speak, just like with the vocal cords, and you don't respond like a human would, but the tree bends. Some trees bend better than others. And it goes through cycles, just like these bodies, every year. And it does have a way of protecting itself. But you experience that. You experience being a tree. You experience being a rock. You experience being a blade of grass. I kid you not. See, we're consumed with the fact on how we've been programmed to believe that we only inhabit physical forms. But in reality, we inhabit every kind of form we choose. Why do we do that? So we can experience it. Who would want to experience a rock? Well, rocks have been around a long time, right? You can experience a rock until maybe it's crushed into dust, then you leave it. You can experience a monkey. You can experience a car. There's nothing that you cannot experience. There's no limitations. There's nothing that says, well, you can't be a car, or you can't be this. Why not? You're pure energy. So you enter into any energy, and you experience it. That's part of our basically being able to comprehend that and understand what that means. We don't just inhabit physical bodies, human bodies, humanoid bodies. So all of us, all life, everywhere, forever beyond, is God. All pieces, facets, is God. We are all God. So it isn't a thing where you say to yourself, well, there's one God. That's not true. There's many gods who make up one. God is another name for pure consciousness. Period. Life, anything that you come across that has life is God. This is why when we look at a mountain, say a mountain or a sunset over a mountain, and you say, those of us who don't understand who and what we are will say, isn't that a beautiful sunset? Those that do will say, that is the God that I am. See, because we're all one. Everything is one. All the planetary systems, everything is one. They're not foreign to each other. They're one. Unity. always one. Yet, the illusion is set to make us believe that we're separate, so that we can discover that we are not. It sounds pretty crazy, but there's some people say, well, why don't we just know that right out of the chute? Why don't we just know that we're not separate? Well, then that would be boring, wouldn't it? If we didn't create some illusion to make us believe that we were separate, so that we could discover that we're not separate. So in this case here on Earth, we all come here with an engineered amnesia, right? Now the interesting thing is that how long have we had amnesia? How long have we had amnesia? Because do you remember any of your lives? Most of us, very few do. Very few do. Now, what would happen if that wasn't there? As it is being eliminated, that factor where you're literally being wiped or your memory being eliminated, that won't be the case much longer, comparatively speaking. So when that's not there, what that means is that you will incarnate into a body, and you will have memory when you leave that body. You'll have memory of that entire life of that body. Okay? So that's one step. Now knowingly, without being zapped, right? Would you come back? All right. Would you, having the memory of the past life, the life that you just left, all of it, everything, no amnesia, would you come back? Now, of course, the ego mind's at work here, which is another influence with these bodies that we inherit through other people's thoughts, through programming. Now, what would you believe that would stop you from coming into another body, or would motivate you? See, because look at how we do here. We say a lot of things. We're hard on ourselves a lot. We don't have a loving relationship with ourselves in most cases. We're consumed with the material physical world for the most part, or we wouldn't have all the things happening that are being revealed on this planet for it to be eliminated, vaporized. So wouldn't it be interesting to ask oneself, would I reincarnate into another body, knowing that the information that you know on what you had experienced, rather than being zapped? See, because when we leave these bodies, it's an engineered effect. Our gods that we are, all the memory of that life that we just left is eliminated. We don't have that memory. And some people, you can in vague ways retrace a past life through regression therapy. Because we retain everything, it's just that we don't have access to the memory of it. So when you don't go through that, and the interesting part is this, so they've got these beings, whatever you want to call them, monkeys, orangutans, whatever. They do this for no reason whatsoever. They don't have a purpose. So, and you'd think they would, but they probably don't know that they do have a purpose. So they keep this crap going. And when their system is completely shut down, both on the astral etheric fields and the physical material fields, then say that you leave the body You're not zapped. You go over to the astral plane, or the non-physical existence. Energy. No flesh and blood or that type of thing. So you go over there, which they call the other side, and you cross over, and there's the matrix. There's this, yes, there is a matrix also in the spiritual realm, because it tricks the gods, right? So it's a matrix there. So that matrix is just like the matrix here on this planet. So the matrix there is when you go to, quote, heaven, or, quote, hell. And let's just say, conventionally, you go to heaven, and you meet all your relatives and everything. Now remember that you have memory of everything, and it doesn't fade. The memory doesn't fade as the God that you are, which normally you're zapped and it's all gone. You don't have any memory of any of it. Now, let's say now you have the memory. You have the memory of everything that you did in that life that you left. Every experience, every emotion, the whole 9 yards. Now, would you come back? That depends. It depends on many things. It depends on how you would interpret or look at the fact of going into another body and having a new life, even though you have the memory of that past life. Do you see what I mean? So you would carry the memories of that past life while being in a new life. How do you think that would go? Now, I believe that in some ways it would be very helpful. In other words, just like everything, there's good and bad, and there's bad and good. So you're not sure until you take a leap of faith and you do it. Now, obviously, you concentrate. Now, understand this now. When you reincarnate you go into another life, and you have memory of the life you just left, it becomes quite interesting, wouldn't it? Because what would you do? You would want to do what? Visit your loved ones that haven't left the body yet? You might have left the body prematurely. Could have been a car accident, could have been shot, could have been a disease, could have been anything, and you might have left the body after 30 years, 20 years, 15 years. So, but now you remember that entire life. It's not gone. You would eventually, not as a baby, of course, but as the body grew in maturity, got to a certain age, you would recollect. So you would most likely look at the people that are still on the planet that you had left in that past life to go see them, meet with them. How do you think that would go? Because things are changing. More so, a lot of people don't realize, not just on the physical material realm, but the astral and the etheric astral, those fields are changing, shifting, and moving into higher and higher vibrational frequencies. So you, the God that you are, you would have a whole different point of view. So you go and talk to Aunt Matilda, right? And so you left the body prematurely, and let's say you left it at about 35 years, 34, 33, whatever. And so you left the body. So Aunt Matilda was your favorite aunt, so you want to go visit Aunt Matilda. But you're not that body anymore. You're not the name, you're not anything. You never are, it's just the body. So a lot of people would want to see the loved ones that left. Wouldn't that be wild? See, there's a lot of things that we don't really contemplate or review in meditation so that we could understand the responsibility of that. Some people might say, well, then it would be better to not have any memory of any past life while you're in a life. It wouldn't conflict, would it? It wouldn't influence our decisions. Because every time it's the first time. Every time right now we go into the body, it's the first time. We don't have any recollection. Just about everybody. There's a few that bleed through. But for the most part, any recollection of past life. This is the life we're in. So we really don't have anything, so to speak, that directly influences us as, per se, a past life that we have full memory of. So it gives food for thought. Which one would you choose? Would you choose, say you were going, and you have a memory of everything, you say you were going to go and reincarnate, new body, new life, that type of thing? Or would you say to yourself, no, I learned enough the first time around. I don't care to go and reincarnate on that planet. So there'd be a lot of differences there. But see, as a God, you have no ego. It's just the body. So you don't have an ego mind. You know, you're not trying to protect anything. So it's a different perspective until you get in the body. That's different. Okay? If you get in the body and you have full memory of who and what you were in the past life, another key issue is knowing that you are the God and not the body. See, these are all learning processes for us. Some learn quicker than others. So it's kind of like your choice. And what you know, when you leave this body, maybe it'd be this lifetime. But when you leave this body, you say to yourself, I'm not this body, I'm the God. I am a supreme immortal being that never dies. So it's not a big deal leaving the body, have another one. And another one just depends on what I choose to do. You're not in, we're in a, it's, we look at this planet, and a lot of people are becoming more and more aware that this planet became a slave planet because of all the infiltration of all the different factions and the different beings, off-worlders that have come here and set up shop, so to speak, to basically rule over the people of planet Earth. That's exactly what happened. So now people say, well, what about the gods that we are when we leave the body? Wouldn't that make us also slave, gods that are enslaved? Good question, isn't it? Why do we continually are forced to reincarnate on this planet? Or tricked into reincarnating on this planet? And I've had that question posed. Why is that? Why? Then that means that the majority of the gods on this planet in human form, in the human body, are slaves too. If they can capture some of the gods and have those gods power machinery and equipment that basically has a lot to do with wiping our memories every time as gods, that we had experienced the physical form and then it was wiped away, and then we were literally forced to start over. We have no clue how many lifetimes we've had because each one is the same. It's the same in the way that we have no recollection of ever being in a body before. And then when we go to the other side and we get zapped coming out of the body, we have no memory. And if we do have any memories, they fade. They fade quickly. So doesn't it sound that it's controlled, that we're all in this like schoolyard, right? Some kind of an educational, a school for gods. Doesn't it seem like that? That we go to this university, it's a school of gods, and then we go out and we experience. And then we get to the point where we experience so much that we then ascend to another level of existence. Because when you look at everything on this planet, right now you can, because you're in the body, you have memory day, so that you can literally recollect or call upon the memory in the subconscious is our database, so to speak, the recorder, and then look at certain things. We can do that now in the body. We can't do that when we get out of the body. We discover who and what we are in the body. That's a big one right there. That's major, major, major. Supremely major. Omnipotently major. Because that sets the rhythm and frequencies through this endless journey. Because when you do leave the body, you know who and what you are. You know you're not the light. You are the light. So when you leave that body, you'll know that. When you leave the body, you will know that you leave. The God knows it's the light. So when that light shows up, you don't go in it. Why would you follow a light and you're the light? You follow yourself, not some light that appears that says, you got to come with me. You know, you got to go here. Everybody goes here. You got to go here. You can't buck the system. You know, we've got it so layered. You've got to go with me. And the pull is tremendously powerful because you don't know. You don't have a clue. But for some reason, we're compelled because we're so seduced by this light that we go into it. And then the process starts all over again. Kind of different for everybody. You know, you've seen depictions in movies and stuff where everybody's kind of all of a sudden appears in a line like they're going in through the gates of heaven. And one guy says, how did you get here? Well, a guy said, I had a heart attack. Oh, yeah. Another one says, I got hit by a bus. Oh, that must have been interesting. So, but we're carrying body form, essence of the body that we left. Isn't that amazing? Do you believe that? Do you believe that that is true? Or do you believe it is an illusion, another illusion generated by the Matrix? That we're all standing around, okay, and we had left. Does that make any sense to anybody? Well, in a way, because none of us know we're gods. So we'd fall for just about anything. A room full of relatives that have long past left the body that you walk into, and they're all there looking better than they ever did when they were alive. You see how seduction, how it works with us gods, how we're seduced, the astral plane, and the spiritual existence of our energy, our energetics of life, and how we're just so naive that we're seduced into this matrix. And some of it's good, though, see? It's not all bad, because we do learn, but the point is that we don't know that we can access our library of all the lives we have ever experienced in any form that we had choose. Some of us do incarnate as trees because trees can literally, once a fire ends up, but it can last for a very long time, longer than a human body. Of course, they have the blight. You know, there's certain bugs and stuff that can kill them. Diseases. Diseases. Everything ages and deteriorates, and then turns back into powder. Isn't that rock? Does that seem natural? No. It's generated by the holographic matrix to make you believe that you are not endless, that you too will perish, and that this has all been set up. All of it has, very finitely, very much detail. It's all been set up in this quadrant of the galaxy to keep us trapped. We don't know that, though. We think we're free. In reality, when you leave that body, you are free, truly free. But you have amnesia, so you don't know that you have all this power as a God. You don't. You have no clue, just as you don't in the body. This is like you could heal the body instantaneously if you knew that you were the God and you had this intimate, deep, loving relationship with the God that you are. It would be a no-brainer, period, across the board. You could heal plants and animals and, all kinds of things. But you don't know that because of the programming that you get, that we all get, when we come in a little baby body, and then all the voices and all the things that we hear and take in and see, that's what happens, and smell. And that's our library. And that's what we do with it. We don't know how to access it, so we just keep going through this cycle. I know that there are people who do leave the body that say, I'm not going back into a body. And then the guilt trips played on them a lot of the times. So you got to go back there because you've got things you've got to do. Well, I just did that in this life. See how that works? You don't have any real comparison. You say, I don't care what you say. I'm just not interested. I'm not interested. I don't care to go into another body, have another life. Some people have done that and then they don't go back. They don't come back here. They might have only had one incarnation. See, so it's really convoluted. The truth factor is really skewed on what to believe and what not to believe. And that's each and every one of us decision or choice, whatever it is we make. And, these are things that in meditation, in the quiet time, that one would want to ask the God that they are. See, another way of really becoming more intimate with the God that you are in that body is to have conversation in meditation. Now, and not verbal. You don't need to talk to speak with the God that you are. But just feeling through the heart-mind. Why is it that we have this merry-go-round? And the merry-go-round is massive, right? And no one seems to be able to get off because it's turning so fast. Right? Did you ever do that as a kid? When you're on a merry-go-round, the fun part would be, at least when I was a kid, we would get it going so fast, and of course it wouldn't stay fast, but we would get it going so fast and we would dare each other to jump off. And the merry-go-round was low to the ground. It wasn't a big deal. And as a kid, we're like rubber bands, our joints and everything. So you'd do a timing, but see, if it got too fast, you couldn't get off. It was just too fast. So then we would wait until it slowed down enough where we could jump off. But this is what the civilization is. It's on a merry-go-round. So are the gods in the bodies. So we have this entertainment. The entertainment is on this planet, and entertainment is material physical. We don't realize that all of our answers to all of our questions that we will ever have are within us, and that the gods that we are what we are and who we are. We're pure energy. We're part of the one. We're the collective consciousness, pure consciousness, pure love, light energy. The highest source and the highest power and the highest vibrational frequency that exists. Sure, dark frequencies exist, but they're nowhere near as high, and that's a proven fact, as light energy. They aren't. They don't function there. They function in lower levels of existence. The darkness, the manipulation, the pain, the sorrow, destruction. And with them, with those dark elements, that's the way it always is. Always has been, always will be. A redundancy of applications. Things that don't make any sense. So as part of this civilization ascends further in higher dimensional frequencies, the lower dark matter, survival matter frequencies will cease. They won't be able to be in that field. They will cease. So these are things we contemplate in meditation because we truly desire and want to understand, but most of us never took the time to go within and visit frequently our spirituality because the material physical world kept us away from it. Does it today? Oh, yes, absolutely. So we're on a merry-go-round. And it's going real fast. It's going so fast you can't see outside that merry-go-round. You can't see. It's so fast that everything's a blur outside that merry-go-round. So you don't know if you're able to jump off. You take the risk of not getting hurt when you jump off that merry-go-round going that fast. How many people would? Not many. Very few. Even the kids that, when we hung together and we go to playgrounds, not many of us jump off of that merry-go-round. When the boys would get it going really fast, and girls would sit there, stand on it. Some of them had seats. Most of them you stand. And they would look at the boys jumping off, and they thought it was absolutely horrific. That the boys had the courage to jump off that. I was afraid they were going to get hurt. And how many in this society, on this planet, in this time, in this now, would jump off of that merry-go-round? In other words, they would reach out to themselves and the God within them, and then they would be able to determine that they were a God in the body. That's like jumping off of the merry-go-round. Because most of us will stay in that safe field, and no way will we jump off of that merry-go-round. We're not going to do it. And you're not going to convince those to do it, no matter what you do, because they operate from a different field of existence. Haven't you ever, and for yourselves, haven't you ever figured out the fact that why some people are so adamant about things that you might bring up and it triggers them and they get very aggressive? Like, irritated? So you back off and you say, there's no reason to talk with this person. You just saturate them with love and walk on. Because this journey that we're on, this part of the journey right now with this planet, reincarnation, experiencing physical material life, learning about your spirituality, it's an education process. This is a school for gods, not so much the people. The people, that's the vessel. That's the vehicle. Now, we as gods have no clue that when we enter those bodies, we will, though, we will. We'll know that when you enter a body, what are you going to get with that body? going to get an ego mind, you will know what the ego mind is before you enter that body. Say, it won't be a surprise. You'll immediately start to, when you get to a certain level in that body, you will start pursuing and confirming what? Who and what you are, the God within the body. That will be your first step. None of the other stuff, the so-called church in heaven that people have reportedly been in, where, Jesus comes up and takes your hand and you walk with him and you talk with him and everything. You find that interesting, see? And the interesting thing about it is that there's and you'll find this out. You'll find it out when in meditation, and your whole direction of meditation is to be. It's to be. It's your beingness. It's nothing outside of you. That's all kind of like a charade. But when you know, say, what's the difference when you know it's a charade, say, and you know you're the God in the body? It's a whole different ball game, isn't it? It really is. There's just no way you wouldn't do the same things that you do now. You would know differently. You would have different understandings with that. And this is all going to change. You know why? Because we, the collective consciousness, have decided that that's time for it to change. And change isn't real anyway. Anything that changes, remember, is not real. It's illusion. And that entertains us gods. If we didn't have the illusion of things, the things that we create to entertain ourselves, boy, we'd be a bunch of boring, bored-out gods. What's the purpose, right? Some people ask, what's the purpose of all of this then? To experience. What do you do if you don't experience? If you don't create? Nothing. There's nothing to do. You become non-existent. What is the God? It's creation. It's everywhere. It's it. We're the God. Everything. There's no escaping it. It's not something that, here's a ball of God and you can run from it. No. It's all-encompassing. It's everything and everywhere. Even in dark form. Even in dark form. It's so many of us, so many facets of the one can learn. It's contributing to the one. All of us, all the pieces of the one, all of us gods are contributing to the vast knowledge, the experience base of all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond and forever. It's fascinating to know this. It's reassuring as well. When we view these, they're magnificent. We view this like totally different. I'll guarantee you, 1,000 and beyond percent, that when you know that you are the God in that body, no argument. When you have mastered the ego mind, no argument. And it's become a vehicle that you control, but that you direct. And you know that you're the light. And you decide you're going to incarnate into a human form because you have a particular agenda that you want to accomplish for this civilization. and you have all the memories of all your past lives intact. That is a different ball game completely, isn't it? That is a God planet paradise. This planet was designed for that. It was. But it became infested. We all know that word, don't we? Infestation of parasitical beings that and they had no clue what they were doing, and they still don't know what they're doing. Isn't that amazing? So you take a God planet paradise and you totally you foul it. It's like you disconnect it, and then it gets so bad that you have to quarantine it until it can be liberated completely from the grip of the pure evil and the nonsense. So a lot of the collective consciousness, which includes all of us, decided that this planet should be returned to its former status as a God planet paradise. I mean, when you look at it, you can see the remnants of at one time the reverence of a God planet paradise. We had structures that used to heal the people all over the planet, everywhere, even in small towns. But it would heal harmonically, vibrationally, everyone around that would hear the sound. And in each of those buildings, if you will, you call them that, magnificent structures, ornate, beautiful, each one had a massive, massive organ. Okay? Isn't it interesting that it was called an organ? And a lot of you heard organ music, right? Except that the kind that they play in, Phantom of the Opera and those real dingy organ music. But I'm talking about cathedral music. And the way the cathedral were built and the way that the music was distributed through all of the ornateness and the colored windows and everything. Those were healing centers for humanity, for the civilization at the time. And then the parasites came and basically destroyed most of the organs and turned them into what? Churches. Turned them into churches. Isn't that amazing? And churches were part of the parasitical regime. Those were healing centers. They literally were. You can research it. You'll find that truth. So what did that mean? It meant that we were really healthy. It meant we didn't get sick. Harmonics, vibrational frequencies. But we're going to see, we, all of you, me, the collective consciousness, have decided to return this planet to a God planet paradise in the now, where healing centers will again be focal points, where the people will be not just healthy, but immortal. People say, well, that's God planet paradise. The beings there are immortal. They only leave the body when they decide that they want to leave the body. Very powerful, benevolent planet. If you have any ill intent to visit it, and your heart and intentions aren't pure, you won't be able to visit it. See, that's, and a lot of people, the mind can't comprehend that. Too small. But when you turn these planets into God planet paradises, and the experience and knowledge base is so high, and the parasites have no place to grow. They have no place to grow, nor will they even dare enter the atmosphere. Frequencies were so high that they would disintegrate before they even got to the first layer. This is how the new existence in the astral and etherical planes and the physical planes is going to be. Because there are civilizations in the astral plane. Okay? We cannot be so naive as to believe that there isn't. So in this quiet time of the meditation, raise your vibrational frequency. Become closer to the God that you are within that body, so that you visualize through your heart that you can have a deeply intimate relationship with the God that you are. This is the first step. I'll join you in the meditation and we'll close this out. Take an easy, slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out of the mouth. Remain still. Stop seeking for any guidance answers outside yourself. To pay closer attention to what your intuition is telling you. Your inner voice is not that loud, demanding one either. It's the soft, gentle whisper that knows there is nothing to fear. Your intuitive wisdom is never wrong, so you can always trust it. It's always available and can be found within the silence between each heartbeat. When you discover the sweet spot, you'll notice how satisfying it is. Just remember that real listening skills always require the most radical patience you could ever imagine. Much love, gratitude, and joy. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night and the following morning. We'll return here Tuesday, August 15, 2023, 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest, eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on around you or inside you.